Hello, dear friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is news time again from this very good channel. Welcome back. How are you all doing? Hope you're good. I pray that God will be with you in your endeavors. Today, we have another update for you. And I want you to, after listening to it, you drop your opinion and suggestions you have so that Biafra will be free. And that's just it. Okay, let's go there.
Is public affairs analyst Dr. Majid Dahiru to throw more light on this story. Thank you so much for being on Newsnight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, there are those who have this perception that this is just about lack of sensitization and awareness. But I have to ask you, is this really about awareness or something deeper than that? A deeper crisis of trust that no amount of awareness can fix? What do you think?
I think it's not just about awareness, like you rightly pointed out. And I think your report did justice to this issue. Beyond lack of interest, I think there are a combination of factors responsible for the low level of recruitment in the Southeast. Some other factors include socio-economic and then political. I listened carefully to Dr. Simon Okeke. He dwelled more on the political, but before then, you have to also consider the socio-economic. Now, the Southeast region, if you agree with me, is one of the most prosperous regions in Nigeria because of the industry and enterprise that characterize that region. And so, most youths might not be generally, naturally too, attracted to a profession that will not pay them well, that has very poor remuneration. For context, a private soldier in the Nigerian army earns about 50,000+ naira a month. A young boy in
Even with the minimum wage?
But I don't know whether they have adjusted for the minimum wage, but for the last time we checked, this was, the pay package for a private soldier in the Nigerian army. A master warrant officer, at least the highest rank within the rank and file cadre, goes on with about 180,000 naira. And if you know how many years we're putting to get to that level, now if you compare this to the U.S. Army, for instance, a private soldier in the U.S. Army earns about $21,000 per annum. That is higher than what our chief of defense staff earns per annum. So it is a poor remuneration issue. And so for a young man in the Southeast, he will earn that amount of money, the amount of money a soldier will earn in a month. A young boy that is doing petty trading in area market or in Onisha main market will earn quadruple that amount in a month. So why should he or she abandon something that can take him home properly every month, take our family, now enlist into the army? And so this is the socio-economic aspect of it. And I can assure you too that many of the Nigerians that are already enlisted into the army are so frustrated that they may want to leave at any time from now because it simply cannot take care of the socio-economic needs. Now, talking about the political angle, and that is very important too. So for the Southeast, it will be a double jeopardy if the kind of interest you see from other regions are expressed from the Southeast, because somehow, yes, since the end of the Civil War, there has been some, what people perceive, and sometimes it could be real too, as though to prevent the kind of strength that was displayed during the Civil War. Because if you know the structure of the army and the police before the 1966 coup and counter-coup, the Southeast people dominated the officer cadre of the Nigerian army. I mean, about 60% of the officer corps were drawn from the Southeast. And so when the Civil War broke out, the separatist war broke out, they had enough men and resources to be able to defend their right to secession for 3 years, and they held down the Nigerian army for 3 years in the battle. So I think there was that attempt too to kind of reduce, in order not to resurrect the spirit of the Biafra secessionist tendencies. But again, some previous governments have also done a lot to appease the Southeast and draw them closer. But something happened between 2015 and 2023. When the Buhari government came on board, it put a concrete ceiling on the rise of Nigerian society's origin in any of Nigeria's security services. So not a single person from the Southeast was appointed at the apex leadership of any of the Nigerian security services for 8 years.
So all of this have combined
the historical grievances on the part of the Southeast.
Exclusion,
yes.
and of course the fact that...
And the socio-economic, aspect
it doesn't pay well to be a soldier today, a police officer today in Nigeria.
Whether it applies to a youth in the Southeast or any part of the country.
Exactly.
And just like you said, if care is not taken, more and more would be deserting or leaving the military. So how do you now coin, frame the messaging in a way that will make the army or the forces more attractive, especially, to the, youth in the Southeast? Because the concern here is that the enrollment is ridiculously low, 200 for the whole of the Southeast when you compare with, the other parts of the North, where you have about 3,000, 4,000 in some cases.
Yes, because the Southeast has some peculiarities.
How do you begin to convince them?
Okay, two things must be done. First and foremost, we must reappraise the remuneration packages for our officers and men of the armed forces. It's very important. Until that is done, until we design a pay package that truly compensates for the contract of unlimited liability that you sign when you enroll into the Nigerian Armed Forces, because it's a matter of life and death. Until there's adequate compensation for that contract of unlimited liability, I do not think people from the Southeast who have an option. I mean, this is the headquarters of commerce and industry in Nigeria. They have an option. The Iba Boy institution, entrepreneurial institution in the Southeast, has ensured generational regeneration of wealth in a manner that has made the Southeast the most prosperous region in Nigeria. So why would somebody leave something that actually pays off better than enrolling into the army? That would have been maybe patriotism, that is sacrifice for fatherland. But when somebody is also marginalized, like I tried to make the point about the fact that in the last 8 years, 8 years, the Southeast was excluded from any of the leadership of the armed forces, including not just the civil defense, but even the road safety. It was that bad.
Has that even changed now?
Okay, the current administration has at least broken that jinx. It's like the current administration has lifted that embargo when they appointed Admiral Alike Chukwuegala from Enugu as the chief of naval staff. So why would I enroll into an institution that I'm not sure I will get to the peak of my career because of my ethnicity or my region of origin? So the Nigerian state, beyond just doing sensitization, must address these issues. If you provide adequate compensation for people that are ready to lay down their lives to defend the fatherland, on one hand, and particularly in the Southeast, you must explore the options of inclusivity, equity, fairness, and justice in a manner that allows competence, that allows, capacity, that allows meritocracy to be the yardstick for rising to the top.
Fantastic.
Until this is institutionalized,
but
I'm afraid we'll keep having these problems in the Southeast.
Yeah, very quickly. What are the risks if this gap keeps widening? And on the flip side, there are those who have made the case to say that there can be no promotion if there's no recruitment in the first instance, because there will be nobody to promote if they do not come into the fold in the first instance. If you understand their argument, I mean, you say they've not been promoted, but there are those who say we will only promote those who have even enrolled. No, and we're having apathy of people who are not even going into the fold.
What are about the Nigerian forces? Promotion is done regularly and routinely. And if you qualify for the next rank, you are promoted. But I'm talking about leadership, which is a political decision. The appointment of the chief of army staff.
But they are appointed from within.
What I'm saying is, when you have a region that appears to be marked and prevented from getting to that political decision that decides the leadership of the armed forces, because the appointment of army chief of staff is not a promotion, it's an appointment. No exams are written, it's at the discretion of the commander-in-chief. Right? We have seen a pattern where in 8 years, 8 solid years, a whole generation of armed forces personnel from the Southeast were excluded from the leadership. And the dream of every soldier, of every officer, is to rise to that leadership position.
The dream of anybody.
Of anybody. Yeah. So if I will not rise to the top,
why join?
Why join?
So are there any risk? Because
so
we have to
the risk
is
on the part of Nigeria. An army, a Nigerian army that does not include officers and men from the Southeast part of Nigeria, cannot be truly described as a Nigerian army, or an army that is Nigerian.
All right.
So it means the energy, the talents, the competencies of people of the Southeast that should have come in to complement, what is supposed to be Nigerian is lacking.
Well, I mean, the same might just apply to every aspect of our national life. I guess patriotism is the word, should be the word of the day. I have to say thank you very much, Dr. Majid Dahiru, Public